It is Bourbon Blog Live. We're here with my good friend of Hard Truth Distilling Company, Master Distiller Bryan Smith, joining us live from Nashville, Indiana. And we are trying, I love this. I was just saying, I love everything you've done, and everything you've put out there has gotten better and better. But this is so beautiful. This is really this Henry A. Sipes Double Oaked. What is this? This is so good.
Hey, thanks, Tom. It's good to see you again, too, my friend. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So this has been one of the more exciting projects from our whiskey category that we've released. I think last time you and I got together, we talked about the Sipes Bourbon Whiskey finished in the rum cask. So that's this series family of products are going to be whiskeys that we do with different finishing touches. So really the origin of this particular project started with Andrew Weabrink at Independent Stave. So they do most of our barrels. Great guys, and I really like working with Andrew. He's a smart dude, and so I had been experimenting and tinkering with ways to get smoke into whiskey, including smoking grains and different things. I really like mezcal. I think we've talked about that before too.
Yeah.
So I called Andrew and I said, hey, I know that there are certain things with barrels that add smoke complexity to whiskeys, obviously with the charring and toasting. I said, is there anything that you can do to really bump that up? And so he said, well, it's good timing because I'm actually working on a project, smoking barrels. And so he had me right then and there. So he and I spoke, and what I've really done is took some time. We got our own smoker. I started messing with, different toast and chars to pair with specific hardwood smoke. So they're all oak cask, white oak American barrels. And then, we do have a prescriptive char and toast done at the cooperage. And then what Andrew is doing, and now what we're doing at the distillery is we're taking different species of hardwood, so oak, pecan, maple, applewood, hickory, and then we actually smoke the inside of the barrel. So we take a smoke generator and smoke the inside of the barrel. So what you end up getting is, this has started out as a 4-year-old bourbon, which is a really nice, tasty bourbon, and then we finished it in these charred, toasted, and smoked barrels. So what you get is you get several layers of complexity that adds into the bourbon. The smoke for me is really subtle and elegant. It's not like a peaty Scotch or a really heavily smoky mezcal. So for me, as we were evaluating this product, as we were aging in the secondary barrel, I started noticing like lots of different layers of flavors, which I love. My mantra is complexity and balance. So I really love the complexity that this finished added to this.
It has a wonderful complexity, and it just there is that beautiful smoke, and it has a boldness, but the boldness doesn't overdo it. It's very elegant. Again, you're welcome. This is a brand new product. Hard Truth Distilling Company. It's the Henry A. Sipes, and you've already this year released several under the Sipes name, right?
We have, and we've got a couple more to come later on in the year. So I'll tease that we are doing more with this smoked barrel, more in the Sipes universe. It's just been a killer for us here in our Indiana market. We're starting to widen our distribution for this particular product. We just launched in Tennessee, so we're doing really well in Illinois and Tennessee and Florida, but really staying here close to home and building out our fan base here in Indiana.
I like it. The double oaked in a smoked barrel. Now again, walk us through the process of what I know. There's we were mentioning there's some really interesting barrel experiments out there, but you're really taking a very creative approach to this. What does the whiskey look like step by step, beginning to end, and how do you get this very unique flavor?
Yeah, so part of it really goes to obviously experimentation doing different types of chars, different types of toasts that complement the particular species of hardwood smoke. So, it's surprising. There's a surprising effect that the smoke provides to the whiskey that you wouldn't really expect. So for example, with hickory, I expected a real barbecuey, robust smoke. Like when you use hickory, when you're smoking meats, it's a pretty strong smoke. But whiskey, the hickory smoke is incredibly delicate. It's wild. So it's been fun to really experiment and figure out what the sweet spot is for each of these. And then with this particular whiskey, we use a combination of the different barrels, different smokes, a proprietary combination that then kind of shaped this flavor. So I did a lot of micro experimentations with the hickory and with the apple and with maple and with pecan. And so really the fun part of this project is, like with most stuff we do at Hard Truth, if you've ever been out on the property, we tend to things get out of hand on us. So we actually walked the property today, and we are breaking ground on America's original barrel smoked whiskey, Smokehouse. So we are, for these barrel smoke projects, we're going to, launch a campaign of America's original barrel smoked whiskey. We're building a smokehouse. The smokehouse is super cool, and I hope that I get all the things that I want in it, because I want to hang some country hams in there and do some different fun things. But what that smokehouse will allow me to do is, take the germ of this idea and the start of this project and really expand it out into other products, deeper smoke flavors, other opportunities to smoke other parts in the whiskey, in the process to the final product.
Excellent.
Smoke's a funny thing. There's people don't, there are people who hear that and they think peaty Scotch, and of course there are people. If you get to the bottom of your glass, my favorite thing to do with this particular whiskey is, for some reason, when your glass is empty, when it's totally void of just right afterwards, and then you stick your nose in there, I mean the smoke part of this whiskey just really becomes rich and luscious. So
it has a different, that's always fun to try the glass. It's always nice to nose the glass, as we always talk about, while you have the whiskey in. But once that whiskey goes away, shortly thereafter, the way that smoke lingers.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why are we smelling something different?
I was hoping you could tell me that, Tom, with your great palate and sensory. I was hoping you could tell me, because it just fascinates me to no end. And in fact, I'm able to pick out the different particular the wood species better when the glass is freshly emptied. Mm-hmm.
I would have a better answer for you if my glass was empty very often, but
right.
The good news is that it has a way of refilling itself. Now, I think part of the reason might be just the remnants that are left behind stick to the glass for a little while, and some of the alcohol vapors, those have gone away, because those don't linger as long. The actual wood vapors, or not the wood vapors, the wood elements are going to be further lasting in a glass versus the alcohol vapors. So that's probably why you can go. That's my guess of why you can go more directly to the.
I knew you would have an answer if I asked you, and I think you're right.
I had to empty my glass first. No, I really.
Yeah, the ethanol, the alcohol part really takes over some of those scents whenever it's in the glass. I think you're right. I think whenever it's gone, you're left with some of those volatile oils and some of the deliciousness. So, I'm really looking forward. We're actually going to start breaking ground, I think, this next week. And so not only will it be a functional tool for the distillery and for our distillers to, experiment and smoke our own barrels, and really expand that program, but it's also going to be an add to the tour stop now. So as you go through the distillery tour, you'll be able to come out and check out the barrel smokehouse. I see like a back porch on the back with an overhang for maybe some acoustic music, on a nice day. So, we like to do the experiences out there at Hard Truth. So it'll be a nice space for us.
It truly is all the experiences that you could ever imagine, from music to atmosphere to the beautiful property that surrounds Hard Truth there in Nashville, Indiana. And again, this new Smokehouse. You had mentioned something about Independent Stave Company, or you had said something about what had you said about that?
So really, we work with them for the majority of our barrels. They're a really great partner. They make great barrels, and the results are just, speak for themselves in the whiskey.
Yeah.
And they have a research and development area there. And I work with Chad Spalding and Andrew Weabrink, and those guys are just they just knock it out of the park. They're great fun to work with. I think they're as excited about innovation as I am. And so, you connect people together that really have a passion for the stuff. And Andrew and I can stay on the phone for hours talking about this stuff. So, really, I know that if I come to them with a request on something that I have in my mind, I was just really obsessively working on getting this perfect smoke into the whiskey, into the bourbon. And right away, he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I'm working on something. Let's do something together." So, so it's been really fun to work with them. But this Smokehouse will be ours, and this will give me a chance to do some, to take that project and.
Excellent. And again, it's Bryan Smith, Hard Truth Distilling Company's Master Distiller, talking with us about the new Henry A. Sipes double oaked in a smoked barrel bourbon. And I'm trying this. This is incredible. And I think it's one of those that, there's so many layers to this that you get it right off the top. It's amazing. But then the more you sip on it, it's like, wow, the layers are just, they're very complex. Thinking that this is a 4-year-old bourbon that again went into a secondary barrel that was smoked with a variety of different types of influences. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And then also, if you've had any double oaked whiskeys before, that the secondary barrel is a new barrel. So what you've got is all this wood sugar potential there. So with the secondary barrel, typically do a lighter char and a heavier toast. And that heavier toast, for people who are familiar or aren't, I kind of think of it like creme brulee. It's when you're toasting, you're really caramelizing the sugars in those layers of wood just below the surface. Whereas when you're charring it, you're actually lighting it on fire. So with a light char and a heavy toast, you've really got a lot of that good wood sugar, that caramelized wood sugar that you want available to the whiskey. So when you take a whiskey that's already 4 years old, throw it into that barrel, it immediately is starting to grab those delicious wood sugars. And then you throw on that, the layer of hardwood smoke that's been injected into the barrel and allowed to fill the barrel and really settle into that wood. It gives layers. That's why I said with this, I've heard what I loved about this particular project was when I started getting tasting notes from people. And I think even when I talked to you about it, I sent you some of them. And the tasting, when I get excited about tasting notes, which I don't very often, I know that there's something special about it. So, I got, maple sugar. I got smoked Christmas ham, which is probably my favorite. So, you get the Christmas spices and the kind of, so there's almost a savory, there's almost like a savory aspect to it. Not so overpowering, but because the sweetness still just shines through.
Yes, the sweetness is there, and there is that almost that, as you mentioned, the Christmas ham, that Smokehouse note to it. Again, without giving away all your secrets on this barrel, you're saying light toast, heavy char. That's really the magic of what you were able to put together, along with some other little tricks that allowed this to really
Sure.
make something.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about making whiskey and about my job, right? Because you're working with you're working with grains, ancient processes and wood, and so there's so much potential in all of those ingredients, depending on what you do with them, to make varieties. I mean, as you're seeing now, Tom, you more than anybody, you see all the different producers that are out there, and now we're getting this wide breadth of products. But it's important to have from a brand perspective and from a business perspective to find something that differentiates yourself beyond just quality. Because the good news is there are a lot of people making really nice whiskey right now. The whiskey that we are laying down currently, that we're not finishing in fun barrels, that have not been released yet, is which I've talked to you a lot about. We're a sweet mash distillery, so we're distilling and making a lot of sweet mash rye and bourbon whiskey, which we're laying down and aging. And I'm not going to let that stuff out until it's ready. And the good news is it tastes amazing. Just waiting for the enough barrels to come through to where I can kind of open up that pipeline. But in the meantime, finding something that differentiates yourself is really important. And so, as far as we know, we're the first to market with a truly smoked barrel. I know there are bourbon producers that have barrels that have been charred so long that they have a lot of smoky character to it. But this is really a different process, and I think it's for someone who's got or someone who wants just a daily drinker or a something fun to take to a weekend party or just something interesting to have on your back bar. This one definitely fits the bill of something new and unique.
It really does. It's and the mouthfeel of this too. I mean, the flavor, the brulees, the smoke, just the elegance, but also the mouthfeel is to me is something that this doesn't just feel like any bourbon in your mouth. There is this really nice creamy mouthfeel, but it has a great mouthfeel. Did the smoke influence that too? What you did with the barrel?
I think that comes more from the toast in the barrel. It definitely comes from the secondary barrel. I'm really, I would have loved to continue to, and I will continue to play with the different options with this. But we were so excited about this. I actually only produced 4 barrels of this to start, because this was just really experimentation. So it was going to be 4 barrels. We were going to try it out, see how it went. Serve it in the big woods restaurants, and see what people thought about it. But as I started to pull it out for sampling, we were taking it out to the market and letting people who are really into the whiskey world try it. The response we got was so strong that we thought, oh, we need to get this out. So I scaled up our production. There's a lot more on the back end coming of this whiskey, but right now there's very limited amount in the market for the next few weeks.
It's very limited for now. I'm putting the website up there, hardtruthdistilling.com. Where can people, at least for now, find this, and where will they be able to in the future?
Sure. So if you're around any of the Big Woods restaurants, if you're familiar, we've got restaurant in Bloomington and a few in Nashville, Indianapolis area, Franklin, Edinburgh. You can definitely buy it there. There are select retailers that got their hands on it. I'm not exactly sure who all has it in their stores right now, but I'd say there's less than 100 cases out there in the market that are not at Big Woods restaurants. So search it out. If you go some of the Indiana bourbon groups on social media, they kind of talk about this stuff, and this is one that there's been some chatter about, so you might want to check that out. And people will talk about where to find it. So this is going to be a bit of a searcher to start with, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, because I know there's a lot of people that are into bourbon that like to hunt. So
this is worth the hunt. This is something that's really delicious, worth the hunt. Again, mainly you'll see it in Indiana. Will we see it in Kentucky at all, or just mainly Indiana?
Yes. Oh no. When we release, we'll have it in Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, Florida. And we're looking at some wider distribution ads this year as we grow. So that's been, one of the main thrusts beyond innovation of my job is to help the production manager and our crew really scale up to prepare for what's coming. So it's exciting times at Hard Truth, and again, beyond the whiskey and all of our other products. I counted the other day. We had them all in the boardroom, and I think we have 17 products on the shelf right now. So and there's not one of them I'd throw out. I like them all. So we're going to add a few new innovations this year, but on top of that, the distillery. If you've been to Hard Truth Hills, Hard Truth Distilling Company, the 325 acres, through this last year with all the challenges that everyone in the restaurant and entertainment industry is facing on the property, we were really able to adjust. And if you've not been out there, we've got about 9 acres that are developed of the 325, and of those 9 acres, there's lots of covered and picnic table space. It's very comfortable to be far apart from people as you want, but still hear some live music, get some great food, killer cocktails, and good cold beer.
It's delicious everywhere around. The food's amazing. The cocktails, the beer.
Yeah, thank you.
Spirits, yes. And all the products. So many just incredible products. This being added to the lineup, only available in limited quantities right now. But as the year moves along, probably in several months you'll have more of this, or a little later this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've actually got filling some more barrels. The hope is by the end of next week. So they've got to rest there for a while, but when those are done, then we'll have more out to the market. But it's really fun, and it's $59.95 price point. So it's for that money, it's a really nice pour to have on your bar.
That's a great price point. This is such a beautiful. It doesn't remind me of anything too. That's what I love about it. Some bourbons that come out, they remind me of something. This is in a class all its own. This is not something that with other bourbons or whiskeys that have had a lot of peat or smoke. This is something that's so different than those.
Well, thank you, Tom. I appreciate that. That's I'm really humbled by your thoughts on that. I really, what we've found is typically if we like it, it's gonna do pretty well. And I'm pretty picky, man. I spend a lot of time rejecting ideas that I've come up with or that other people, like when we test things. So usually the things that filter through and make it in a bottle into the market, I'm pretty confident are going to do well. I will tease this for you though. So this is the first in the smoked in an oak. Now, of course, we've got the Schoonover, which you tried before. So those also, we had a couple of those finished in smoked barrels. Those are pretty much gone. I mean, if you can find one of those, good luck. There are a few out in the market. I take that back. There are a few out in the market, but they're the smoked barrel finished ones. I did very few of those. That, of course, is a older whiskey, 14-year-old whiskey, so it's a higher price point. But I will tease that in about a month from now, we're going to release the second in this series, the smoked barrel series, Sipe series, and it's a rye. And I'm telling you, man, it is. We were tasting it this week and doing some evaluations, and I'm super excited about that. So I'd love the opportunity to come back and talk to you about that when it gets released. Yeah.
Of course, a similar barrel, different barrel. What's the?
So I switched it up a little bit, but because the rye, the rye has definitely a different, the starting whiskey has such a different flavor profile than the bourbon. So we matched the barrels to complement the rye, and I'll whenever I get to send you some, I'll be excited to hear what you have to say, because I'm really, really happy with that one. So.
Doing a little something different to the barrels, but still a smoked element.
Yes. Still finished, double oaked in a smoked barrel. Absolutely. Yeah.
This are you able to tell us how long it's in that second barrel for, or is it more of a?
I'm not going to tell you everything, but I will say that that we found, from the 3 whiskeys that we've done so far, 3 different whiskeys and also the different species of wood, that the time that we leave it in the barrel is definitely very different from whiskey to whiskey and from wood to wood, depending on the. But again, that's for for my palate and what I like to taste whenever I'm tasting it.
So with that second barrel, the species of wood even comes into play.
It does, absolutely, yeah. The applewood, which again in barbecue, applewood is typically more mild, a little bit sweeter. What we found is the applewood smoke really has a nice spice to it, which is great unless it's overdone. And so whenever I'm considering something like what do I want to pair with the rye, well, inherently rye is typically more spicy. So in that quest to create complexity and balance, I'm looking to find complementary flavors whenever I pair these woods with them. So I wouldn't use an all applewood smoke barrel with a rye whiskey. It would just be too much one note spice.
Right. What you're wanting is that depth and character. Yes. And again, it's Bryan Smith here from Hard Truth Distilling Company, Master Distiller. Any questions, ask them below, tweet us back. Make sure you take a moment, like and share this here, follow all the channels you're on, and also make sure if you're a podcast fan, we'll be uploading this to our podcast a little bit later on. Make sure you check our podcast out at anchor.fm/bourbon blog. Anything else? I mean, I know you have, this is a lot because you've released several new products during the last 11 months, 12 months during the pandemic. This is brand new. Anything else that's going to be coming that you're looking forward to? You get the Barrel House. That'll be up by when? That'll be.
Well, I mean, we're going to go pretty quickly at that. What we're doing right now is we're really researching. We like to bring some history into the mix, so we're looking at like kind of traditional Kentucky Smokehouse. Where I grew up in Evansville, and we would go down to Land Between the Lakes, Kentucky Lake and Barkley Lake a lot. And down there are a lot of places that cure country hams, so Broadbent being one of them. So there are all those old traditional Kentucky smokehouses. So instead of like a hot smokehouse, it's just more kind of ambient smoke that adds flavor to the hams. So we're researching to bring some tradition into the mix with this, but also obviously the function of getting the smoke into the barrel effectively and efficiently and consistently. Because it's great if you create something that tastes good or that's really cool, but repeating that's really where a lot of the art comes in. The science to the art to get it repeating. So we've got a great crew. We've got, one of the partners designs most of the buildings that are on the property. We've got a lot of great, we're never lacking for ideas amongst a group of partners, which is awesome. And then we've got a killer engineer who, we say to Clint, hey, we've got this idea. And next thing we know, he's got his welder out and he's building stuff for us. So yeah, I think the idea is to put the smokehouse outside of the distillery proper, to where you go through the tour and you come out, you can tour through the distillery, and then we've got ideas to kind of create a new village of buildings to support some additional tour stops whenever you're visiting.
It's so good. So the smokehouse will be both for education, but it's also going to serve the purpose of smoking some of the barrels.
Absolutely. No, it will. So we'll be smoking our own barrels. I'll be able to experiment more. And like I said, there might be a charcuterie project here or there hanging from the rafters if you look close enough. So it's gonna be fun. We're really excited about it, and I've got some. We're talking about types of tours and tasting pairings. So let me ask you, Tom.
Yes.
You've done a lot of tasting pairings. I've got my idea on what I would do for just a quick and dirty food pairing with this, or snack pairing with this. But I'd love to hear what you've got in your mind's eye is something that would taste good or be a cool experience to nosh on while you're having a pour of this whiskey.
Well, A few things. I love smoked cheeses. So I mean, I know those are
Hmm.
very big where the smoked houses are with the hams. I mean, good
Yeah,
smoked ham, smoked
yeah.
cheeses. You can really draw the comparisons and the parallels between the whiskey and the way the cheese has been influenced. That's one place I
Hmm.
would go. Of course, I would go. I know we both enjoy good cigars, so I'd probably go to some sort of cigar
Oh
with
yeah,
this. In
yeah.
fact, I already have tried a cigar with this, and it is
Nice.
it's great. I mean, it'd be hard to really go wrong with this
Yeah.
as far as a pairing. But there's so many ways you could take this. I mean, with the sweet and the smoke, even chocolates against smoke,
Mm-hmm.
smoked whiskey. Um, I think having your own smokehouse is going to be something that's going to be so fantastic that not
Yeah.
many distilleries like yours have their own smokehouse to experiment in, do they? This is something very unique.
As far as I know, we'll be the only one. And again,
Right.
we
That's what
like
I'm
we,
thinking.
we we like to try to hit everybody's senses when they're visiting us. With good music, good things to look at, good things to drink, and good things to eat. So this definitely will heighten that experience. And I've been thinking about gosh, I can't remember the guy's name. He's the chef. I think he's got Momofuku. Is it David Chang? Anyways, but I know that he's started to really, over the last 10 years um, embrace the country hams that are being made in the United States, and um, that are more of a kind of a European style, prosciutto style, cured, uncooked country hams. And so,
Yeah.
I know on like his bars, he's got those big, like the big rack like you'd see in Spain with the whole ham leg, where they carve off little thin, wafer thin slices. And so, I've kind of got this dream of a tasting experience with some of that, beautiful country
Ooh,
cured American ham, and a little pour of this whiskey, and maybe, I don't know, some sorghum molasses and a hot biscuit or something like that. Take
that
some of
sounds.
those. Yeah. So we're gonna, we've got some great food minds that are much better than me that take care of the food stuff, uh, and I'm sure they're gonna have a riot with it. But now that you said that, I think that we need to put a little side porch, covered side porch, with just two chairs for a cigar experience. What do you think?
I like it.
Just
The
two
smoke within the
people
smoke.
sitting. Yeah,
I
I
like it.
agree. I agree.
Yeah, maybe even make those you could sit on a smoked barrel as long as it's
Yeah,
not
there you
charred,
go.
land on the jeans or something. But no, I like that. I think
Uh-huh.
it'll be a great experience. This is so cool. Everything you guys do is so special there at Hard Truth Distilling Company. Make sure, no matter where you are,
Thanks.
check out that website, and especially if you're going to be traveling through Indiana, the experience there with the restaurant they have, the distillery, the cocktails, the beer, as Brian mentioned, everything is so beautiful. Again, how many states are you
Thanks,
all in?
man.
You mentioned the states earlier. You're in which states?
Yeah, so we are in Illinois, and we're doing a great job of really spreading out all over Illinois and the Chicagoland area, and also central and southern Illinois. Um, we're obviously in a good footprint in Indiana, also Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida. Ohio and Michigan are next on the list, and we'll see where we go from there. But for people who haven't been to the distillery, it's I always love their reaction whenever people drive up onto the property for the first time, because I don't think that they have an idea of what they're going to do when they visit or pull into a distillery property. But really the scale is and the vision is really pretty incredible, and I can't take any of the credit for that. It was really the partners who had big vision for it, and then the people who executed the build out. But we're we're about midway between Indianapolis and Louisville, just off of
I,
I-65, only 15 minutes west of I-65, Columbus, Indiana. So if you're traveling in the Kentucky, Ohio, pop over and have a great lunch or dinner, and a couple drinks, and get a good tour in. And
yeah.
we haven't talked about it on this one, but we do on the property. We have side by side ATV trails cut through the woods. If you're familiar with Brown County, Indiana, if you're not, It's kind of similar to the foothills of Appalachia, rolling hills. It's one of the only places in Indiana that's really wooded like that, with the hills.
Yeah.
Holler. So we've actually got that are cut out in the woods, and we guides who drive side by and load up, drive out on 3 acres, and the motive is the saying is, we drive, you drink. So we have 3 different stops out there on the tour where we build cocktails and talk about prohibition, moonshining, all kinds of stuff. It's really fun. The tour guides and our tour experience, that crew just knocks it out of the park. I'm always hearing lots of hearty laughter from our visitors, which is always good.
Well, I've been a number of times, always enjoyed it, and it's an ever evolving and always getting better experience there at Hard Truth, and there's certainly nothing like it in all of Indiana, and really nothing like it in all of craft distilling. Everything that you will have added to this has been is so historic and so unique. So congratulations on the on the new one here, and again, look for it in limited quantities right now, but later in the year we're going to see more and more of this. But for now, they can find the original Sipes bourbon probably a little easier if they can't find this, right?
Sure, yeah, and we do have a spirit finder on our website. So if you go to our website and pop in the spirit, you should be able to find the retailers where you can find it. And I mean, go out and get it. Be the first one to introduce your friends to it, because it's not going to go away anytime soon, and we're really excited about it. I think it fits nicely in the world of bourbon whiskeys on the market.
It really does. So it will be a permanent in your permanent collection.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
I'm so glad to hear that, Bryan. Always a pleasure having you on Bourbon Blog Live, and keep up the great work. I can't wait to try more spirits, and hopefully we'll see you real soon in Nashville.
You as well, my man. Come up anytime. I'll tell you, we just had a meeting earlier this week about Midwest Distillers Fest. So,
good.
I think everybody's trying to figure out what the rest of their year is going to look like this year. Right. And we're planning big, and if we have to adjust, we can adjust. We're gonna try to whenever the timing is right, revive that festival. It's a great time, and I know you've been a part of it for us, and we're looking forward to doing it again.
Well, we look forward to it. You think it'll happen in in fall of 2021?
Yeah, so we've got a tentative date of October 3rd. So we are obviously we're able to monitor and evaluate and shift if we need to shift, but right now we're planning it, man. We it was too much fun. We hated missing it in 2020, so we're going to put it in motion for 2021.
Well, we look forward to being there with you, Bryan, and thanks to all who are watching Bourbon Blog Live a little bit earlier today, kind of for your happy hour drink. Hopefully everybody poured a little something with us. If not, pour something later, and definitely get some of this double oaked in a smoked barrel Henry A. Sipes Hard Truth. Cheers, Bryan. Thanks so much.
Hey, cheers, Tom. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Cheers, man. Thank you all. Thanks for watching.